camera speed. Now, here is a motion picture film.
Good evening and welcome to Real Movies. Tonight's film is a strange picture, almost like watching the fifth film in a huge comic book franchise without having seen the movies that came before. No context, no backstory, instead balls to the wall pulp adventure littered with references to a narrative you have no idea about. Tonight's film is The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension. Released in 1984 and starring future RoboCop Peter Weller, Buckaroo Banzai, as it is often shortened to, follows the adventures of the titular Banzai, a polymath genius, rock star, action hero, and star of his own comic book series. Naturally. Together with his band of companions, the Hong Kong Cavaliers, Buckaroo Banzai must save the Earth from destruction when it is caught in the crossfire of a civil war between the inhabitants of Planet 10, the Black Lectroids battling the hordes of the evil Lord John Warfin, played with pantomime glee by John Lithgow. Feeling lost? Hang on in there. Trust me on this one. When you consider who was behind the film, its unflinching nerdiness is suddenly explained. Buckaroo Banzai was the creation of Earl Mac Rauch, an aspiring screenwriter and novelist who was friends with W.D. Richter, the screenwriter who had written the remake of Invasion of the Body Snatchers and worked on the script for Big Trouble in Little China. Throughout the latter half of the 70s, Mac Rauch wrote numerous uncompleted screenplays starring the character Buckaroo Banzai, involving jet cars, giant robots, and Adolf Hitler's cigars. It is here the rich backstory of the character and the universe in which he exists was drawn up, though it was never actually explained in the released film. Although it may seem like a pacey adventure, there are so many excellent gags, one-liners and in-jokes that this film really benefits from repeat viewing. Look out for the name of the National Security Advisor. Eventually, by the early 80s, with a $12 million budget from 20th Century Fox, The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension finally went into production. For a film so completely off the wall, its success was always going to rely on its cast and how invested they were in the story being told. Peter Weller plays it totally straight and deadpan, and I am so glad that he did. He carries through the film like America's answer to the Doctor, and his total conviction leads to some of the best lines in the film.
There they are. Don't you see them? What do you mean? Who? Evil! Pure and simple from the 8th dimension! Grab him! Hey, now. Don't be mean. We don't have to be mean. Because, remember, no matter where you go, there you are.
Christopher Lloyd is here too as the brilliantly named lead henchman John Big Boutte, and you can rest assured mispronunciations are a great source of juvenile comedy throughout. As mentioned, John Lithgow is chewing the scenery in every shot, and against all odds, I'd argue this is John Lithgow's best performance. Certainly when most people think of him like this,
My position.
I think of him like this. Clancy Brown, best known as the Kurgan in Highlander, which is coming later in this series, plays Banzai's right-hand man, Rawhide, with the same straightness as Weller, whilst Ellie Barkin is having a ball as the love interest Penny Priddy. Buckaroo Banzai is also notable for Jeff Goldblum's role, in which he wears a cowboy outfit that could have been stolen from the village people, near enough from beginning to end. The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension is an absolutely mental film, and it goes without saying I am a big fan. The tone is all over the place. I don't think any other movie could manage to go from bum jokes to genital torture in the same scene, and the exposition dump with the opening title card will probably lose the film half its audience, but those that do stick around will be 100% on board. The production design, costuming and prosthetics are all fantastic. The opening is pure science fiction with nerd levels of technobabble, whilst the 8th dimension itself is an early 80s CG nightmare. It's not a perfect movie by any means. The ending feels anticlimactic, and W.D. Richter has since said he wanted to get more coverage of certain shots, and I can see what he means. There's a chase scene that falls flat thanks to a lethargic panning shot of Weller on a motorbike, killing any sort of pace or energy. But these are minor gripes in what is a wild 102 minutes from beginning to end, with snappy, fun dialogue that will leave you totally invested and laughing to the end, if this is your sort of film. It's not going to be for everyone. Hard sci-fi with a dash of irony never would be, but its influence is undeniable. Television efforts like Torchwood, Primeval and Scorpion clearly owe something to Buckaroo Banzai, and both the book and film adaptation of Ready Player One have brought it to the attention of a whole new generation of geeks. So keep it cult, switch on your oscillation overthruster, strap into your jet car, and I'll explain the watermelon later. This is the adventures of Buckaroo Banzai across the 8th dimension.